Well, a very warm welcome to Anglesey Circuit for this race meeting organised by the 750 Motor Club. My name's Ian Sayman, up here in the commentary box, looking forward to a 6-race programme. And it is 3 different categories that we have represented for you here this weekend. And we will start with the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hatch Championship. And we will also have races today for the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula Series and the ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000 Championship. Let me tell you about the grid for the first race of the day then, the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hatch Championship. It's going to line up as follows. On the front row is going to be 71 and 3. 71 is Pip Hammond and 3 Andrew Thorpe. The second row will be 83 and 53. 83 Jeff Humphreys and 53 Ryan Morgan. The third row, 12 and 41. 12 James Hazelhurst and 41 Jason Wood. The fourth row, 88 and 39. 88 being Martin Kaiser and 39 Martin Rogers. The fifth row, 89 and 14. 89 Richard Kelsall and 14 David Sheeky. His first race in Classic Stock Hatch, his second race ever. Then on row 6, 24 and 77. 24 James Hancock and 77 Derek Rosier. The seventh row, 21 and 18. 21 Ian Gribben and 18 Darren Bassingthwaite. And after a gearbox change since qualifying, or since practice, he didn't take part in qualifying, number 58 Pete Osgerby will be on the back of the grid. 30-second board goes up then. We're all set for the first of 2 races today for the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hatch Championship. It's round number 5, this one. The 5-second board has been shown. The red lights go on already. And they go out now, and it's a good start, albeit with quite a bit of wheel spin from Andrew Thorpe. And he's got the early lead as they head up into Rocket for the first time, or the left-hander turn 1, I should say, for the first time. So it's Thorpe that is leading from, in second place, Pip Hammond. And then it looked like it was Jeff Humphreys in third position, and in fourth place, Ryan Morgan, as they disappeared from my view and headed up towards the hairpin. And it's side by side for third position as they come back into my sight, with Humphreys on the outside line as they go through Church Corner in the yellow Peugeot 205. Ryan Morgan, who was a winner at Snetterton, just behind him. And then challenging as well is 12 James Hazelhurst in the white Peugeot 205 as well. He's just backed out a bit now as they climb up to the left-hander at Rocket for the first time. It's Morgan that's emerged in front of all 3 of them. So Morgan third, Humphreys fourth, and in fifth place, James Hazelhurst, as they disappear from my view up at the top of the circuit. They will reappear in a few moments' time at Peel Corner. So we are doing some commentary here at the circuit, although, of course, there are no spectators here today. This is a test event to see if larger events can be held here in Wales. But we're also live streaming this on the 750 Motor Club Facebook and YouTube channels. As they come back into my sight then, it is the number 3 car of Andrew Thorpe from the outside of the front row of the grid that is still leading. In second place is Pip Hammond. In third place, it's the blue and yellow car of Ryan Morgan. And a change there because Jeff Humphreys has dropped back down to 5th position behind Martin Kaiser, and James Hazelhurst has lost several places at the top of the circuit. So out of my view, again, briefly, as they head up towards the hairpin. It's pretty tight in qualifying, with the first 5 or 6 cars separated only by a relatively small margin. Yeah, it was only about 4 tenths actually covering the first 5, I think it was. Top 2 here are pulling away, though. Andrew Thorpe in the Citroen AX, the green car, and the white and red Vauxhall Nova of Pip Hammond. On his own a little bit now is Ryan Morgan in third place. In fourth place, Martin Kaiser. In fifth place, the yellow car of Jeff Humphreys, and a spinner a bit further back. Half spin it was. Very well held and very well collected indeed. Try and work out who that was in just a moment. It may have been Ian Gribben, possibly, but we will try and have a look at that. Yeah, I think it was Ian in the Ford Fiesta XR2. But the 2 leaders right together now. Hopefully you can see that on the trackside camera that we're trying, which is my phone that's rigged up. And Pip Hammond up on the inside of Andrew Thorpe as they come through the final corner, but falls back in behind him as they go over the line. And Ryan Morgan is catching both of them now. So at the end of lap 2, it's Thorpe leading, but only by 0.17 of a second, and Morgan is about a second back in third place. On to lap 3 then of this 15-minute race around the coastal circuit here at Anglesey, and it is still Andrew Thorpe that is leading. From in second place, Pip Hammond in the Nova. Third is the blue and yellow Ryan Morgan Fiesta XR2. And fifth place man, Jeff Humphries, runs a bit wide there on the exit of Church Corner. Nevertheless, he pulls alongside Martin Kayser as they go through the right-hand sweep at School, and he's got his car fully ahead. Meanwhile, up at Rocket, Pip Hammond has taken the lead away from Andrew Thorpe. So Pip Hammond takes the lead of the race there at Rocket Corner. The first part of it anyway, because there are two parts to it. Rocket 1 and Rocket 2 is the right-hander, which just not quite in my view. But as they come back into my sight, Ryan Morgan's taken the lead. So I think Hammond and Thorpe have fallen over one another, and Ryan Morgan has pounced. So a change there. It means that Ryan Morgan then takes the lead from Pip Hammond second, Andrew Thorpe in third, Jeff Humphries is now fourth, Martin Kayser has dropped back. In fact, I think he's had a spin at the bottom of the corkscrew, and he has dropped right the way back down to 13th position. Only Darren Bassingthwaite behind him. Darren Bassingthwaite, who was needing the help of many of his friends and colleagues in the paddock last night to replace the cylinder head on that car. So it's good that Darren has got back out today. He's running in 14th position. That's what else who's had some problems over the course of this weekend. Pete Oscarby, he needed a gearbox change this morning. As I say, he's there in 15th position. So up at the left-hander at Rocket, the top three go. And I think that Jeff Humphries now is starting to reel them in. Out of my sight once again. This is lap 4 of the race. Lap times are about 1:24. Well, that's the best lap of the race so far for Ryan Morgan, a 1:24.27. So probably get something like 11 laps out of this, I would think. So Morgan leading. Second place is Hammond. In third place, Andrew Thorpe. In fourth place, the number 83 car of Jeff Humphries. In fifth place is Jason Wood, going very well indeed in car number 41. In sixth place, it's number 39, Martin Rogers. James Hazelhurst is seventh in car number 12, but Pip Hammond has just done the best lap of the race, a 1:23.64. That's 0.17 of a second outside his own lap record here on the Anglesey Coastal Circuit. And he is going after Ryan Morgan. A reminder that coming into this weekend, it's Pip Hammond that leads the championship by 7 points from Ryan Morgan. Pip Hammond 88, Ryan Morgan 81, Lee Scott not here today on 70 points, and Jeff Humphries 51, and that's thanks to his 2 wins in the previous round of the championship at Brands Hatch. The leaders up once again though at Rocket, and it is still the blue and yellow XR2 that's out in front, and that is the car of Ryan Morgan, as I say. David Sheeky on his debut in Classic Stock Hatch. He's running in 12th place at the moment in one of the PDC Vauxhall Nova GTEs. I think the only previous race he'd done was in a Porsche 924. And he's ahead of the recovering Martin Kayser, Pete Oscarby and Darren Bassingthwaite, who's now dropped down to 15th position. But the leaders back into view once again, and it is the blue and yellow car of Ryan Morgan, number 53 that's in the lead then, the white and red Nova, number 71 of Pip Hammond in second place, and in third place it is number 3, Andrew Thorpe, third in the championship last year. Best lap of the race still to Pip Hammond, that 1:23.64. A slow exit there for the corkscrew for James Hancock, number 24. And he is going to lose 8th place to Derek Rosier, who's gone through at turn number 1. So a change there for 8th position. We are on to lap 6 now. Top 2 here pulling away. Pip Hammond starting to get into the toe of Ryan Morgan. Is he going to be able to do anything about him as they get up to Rocket Corner? He's up there on the inside is Pip Hammond, and he has just about gone through, but does he run wide on the exit of the corner? I think he might, although he then does have the inside line for the right-hander, of course, but Pip Hammond on lap 6 retakes the lead. Let's see if he still has it once they come back into my sight. They are heading down there, and it's Ryan Morgan, actually, that is back in front, just about. They're almost side by side all the way through the corkscrew. Hammond in the red and white Nova back in front, but Morgan's not giving up here. The short oval racer is still alongside Pip Hammond. They've been side by side for about half a lap here, and they go over the line, and it's a bonnet length in it between Ryan Morgan and Pip Hammond. Morgan was ahead, but then Hammond has the inside line for the left-hander, and they disappear out of my view up towards the banking. But Ryan Morgan really coming back at Pip Hammond there, side by side for pretty much half a lap. So let's see how the order appears as they come out of the banking and into Church. It's Morgan that appears in front then in the blue and yellow Nova. As they go up towards the left-hander, it is Morgan that holds on to the position, but now it looks like Thorpe is trying to buy into it as well. And they disappear out of my sight, and we'll try and pick them up in just a moment. Back into my view, they will come up Peel Corner, and it's Morgan that's ahead. Yeah, the order's the same. Morgan, Hammond, and Thorpe as they come back down the hill to complete lap number 7, about 9 3/4 minutes into this race. So Morgan, number 53, leading. Hammond, number 71, in second place. Thorpe, number 3, in third position. Then it's Jeff Humphreys in 4th spot. So they make their way back up towards the banking for the 8th time in this race. There is Hancock in 9th position now, just getting past my window. Martin Case, by the way, not really been able to make up any more ground from 13th position after his off at the corkscrew a few laps ago. So Morgan now actually in the lead, pulling away a little bit from Pip Hammond in second place. Will Pip Hammond be able to try and find a way back through? We shall soon find out. He's got a little bit of work to do. He was 3/4 of a second behind at the start of the lap. Martin Rogers, I noticed, has got a 5-second penalty. He's running in third position, the number 39 Peugeot 205. The one that lies 5th in the championship. That will be for exceeding track limits. Dropping down into the corkscrew again. No change in the order. I thought Jeff Humphreys, number 83 in 4th position, might close in on them a little bit. But it's not to be, it would seem. Over the line once again to complete lap number 8 then. And the gap between first and second has come down a little bit to about 0.6 of a second. Turning their way through the banking. I can see that Jason Wood's gone through. He's now in 7th position in car number 41. Titch Kelsall, he needed a new wheel bearing after practice this morning, but he did get back out for qualifying and qualified 9th fastest of the 15 cars that we have here this weekend in the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hatch Championship. Up towards the left-hander at Rocket they go again. Hammond is a bit close this time to Morgan. Tries to get up on the inside, but not quite close enough to make that work. He's within half a car length, though, as they head through the second part of Rocket and out of our sight once again. We've had over 11 minutes of this race now, so probably I would say 2 more laps to go at the end of this one. Still the fastest lap to Pip Hammond, a 1:23.64. Back down towards as they come. And it's again a bit close between first and second. Andrew Thorpe just on his own now in third place in the Citroen AX. Behind him is Jason Wood. Not Jason Wood, I beg your pardon, Jeff Humphreys in 4th position, the Peugeot 205. Then it's Martin Rogers 5th and James Hazelhurst in 6th position. But looking at the lap times, well, there's not much to choose between pretty much the whole field. certainly the top 7 cars, certainly the top 6 cars, lapping within about 0.3 of a second of one another. Maybe a little bit more than that on their best lap times. Don't forget, you can get the live timing on the 750 Motor Club website, 750mc.co.uk, and click on the link to the live timing. Down the back straight goes Ryan Morgan then for what will be the penultimate time in this race, because we're up to 13 minutes of this 15-minute timed element of the race. Out of my sight, they will disappear again. This time, Hammond's not as close to Morgan as he was on the previous lap. And they drop back down the hill any moment now to reappear into our sight. But 1 lap to go at the end of this. Andrew Thorpe in 3rd place has dropped even further back now, back into the hands of Jeff Humphries a little bit. There's still a couple of car lengths between them, but Humphries might be able to make something of this on the final lap. Yes, the last lap board is now being shown to Ryan Morgan and Pip Hammond out in front of this race. They shared the wins at Snetterton in July, of course, these two. Pip Hammond winning the first race there, and Ryan Morgan in only his second ever car race getting the win in race number 2. Wait for them to reappear out of the banking, and Morgan has a little bit more daylight between himself and Pip Hammond this time, about 6 car lengths, something like that, but it's nose to tail for 3rd place now as they come through the right hand, a sweeper at Church, and Thorpe's on the grass, and Jeff Humphries on the final lap goes through on the inside. So Jeff Humphries goes through to take what will be a comfortable 3rd position. Meanwhile, up at Rocket, Pip Hammond hasn't been able to find a way past Ryan Morgan. Only about a quarter of a lap to go then in this race. Is Ryan Morgan going to hang on here to take his 2nd victory in the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Stock Hats Championship, round 5 of the championship? It would certainly close the gap to Pip Hammond in the points from the 7 points that it was at the start of this weekend. Pip Hammond not really close enough as they come through the final corner. Checkered flag goes out, and it's going to be Ryan Morgan that therefore takes the win by, just having a look at the gap on screen when it flicks through, 0.8 of a second for Pip Hammond. Jeff Humphries takes 3rd position, so it's 53 from 71. 83 is 3rd, which is Jeff Humphries. In 4th position, number 3, Andrew Thorpe. 5th position, number 12, James Hazelhurst. 6th is number 39, Martin Rogers, although his 5-second penalty will drop him down to 7th behind number 41, Jason Wood. 8th place going to number 89, which is Richard Kelsall. In 9th place is 24, James Hancock. 10th place to Ian Gribbin. In 11th place, number 88, Martin Kayser. 12th to number 14, David Sheekey. In 13th place, number 77, Derek Rosier. 14th place, number 88, Darren Bassingthwaite. And in 15th place, number 58, Pete Oscarby. And the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hats Championship has another race a little bit later on this afternoon. Coming up next, though, here, it's the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula Series. And we'll be back with that in a few moments. So we have the cars coming out onto the circuit for the second race of the day now, which is the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula Series. Biggest grid of the weekend, actually, for these cars. Let's tell you how the grid lines up. On pole position, number 7-1, Graham Wilson, his first time out in the Time 3B that's been successful. In other hands, most recently Simon Bolter, but Anthony Reid here at Anglesey a couple of years ago. And alongside him is number 8, Martin Depper. The second row is 23, Lyndon Thruston, and 200, Christian Pedersen. The third row, 72 and 1, 72, Trevor Slatter, and 1, Gregan Thruston. But it looks like Gregan Thruston is not there, unfortunately. And then it is on the fourth row, 18 and 62. 18 is Tim Roebuck and 62, Johnny Sadler. The fifth row, 42 and 21. 42, Tim Sage, and 21, Al Frayling Cork. The sixth row is 20 and 67. 20, Ian Grant, and 67, Paul Mason. The seventh row, 19 and 22. 19, John Ingram, and 22, Charlie Plain Jones. And the eighth row, 29 and 11. 29 is Roy Wetherall, and 11 is James Miles. So that is the way that the grid lines up for this one. It's going to be another 15-minute race. The red lights are already on, and they go out, and away we go. It's not a very good start by Graham Wilson. He makes a very slow start and is swallowed up. He's about 7th by turn number 1, and that means that from the outside of the front row, it's Martin Depper that has moved into the lead of the race, and he is in the number 8 Centaur Mark 14 for the driver from Stourbridge, and I think it looked like it was going to be Christian Pedersen, the Wolverhampton driver, so a strong showing. But he's back to 4th place now as they reappear back into my sight at Church Corner. It is still Martin Depper leading. It's Lyndon Thruston second, but it's Trevor Slatter, number 72, side by side with Lyndon Thruston for second position here as they climb up the hill. Slatter is going to be on the inside line for the left-hander at Rocket. Can he make the most of it? Can he go through? No, I don't think he can, as Thruston holds on to second place. But we had a couple of fantastic races from Historic 750 Formula at Mallory Park for their opening meeting of the season at the end of July. The victories there shared between Trevor Slatter and Martin Depper. So both of them driving Centaurs, Mark 11 for Trevor, the Mark 14 for Martin Depper, which is the car that leads the race. In between them here, you've got the DNC of Lyndon Thruston. So at the end of lap 1, it's number 11 that is leading. Well, it's not, it's number 8 that is leading, I beg your pardon. Number 23 in second place. In third position is the number 72 car of Trevor Slatter, as they make their way out of my view once again. In fourth place is number 7, Graham Wilson. So by the end of the lap, he was back to 4th position. In qualifying this morning, he did a 1:26.95, which was around about half a second quicker than Martin Depper, and he is up to 3rd place now. He took that at the banking. So he's up to 3rd position, but the top 2 here pulling away. Another West Midlands driver, actually, in the form of Lyndon Thruston from Bromsgrove. Well, actually, that's Worcestershire, strictly speaking. But as they climb up to Rocket once again, it's Depper from Thruston. 3rd place is Wilson. In 4th place is Trevor Slatter. But Wilson spins. The 3rd place man, the pole position man, Graham Wilson, spins the Time 3B at Rocket Corner. He's going to drop down to at least 6th, if not 7th position. So perhaps his inexperience in Historic 750 Formula showing there. He's got the novice cross on the back of his car as well, but he spins 3rd place away, having done some hard work to get back into 3rd position. So as they come back towards me then to complete lap number 2, hopefully on the screen you can see them coming down through the corkscrew. And it is the number 8 car that leads of Martin Depper from number 23, Lyndon Thruston in 2nd place. In 3rd position is number 72, Trevor Slatter. 4th now is number 200, Christian Pedersen in his Austin 7. 5th place is number 18, which is, beg your pardon, 5th place is number 18, yes, which is Tim Roebuck in his Austin 7 Special. And 6th is Graham Wilson after that spin. And he did just clatter the curbs on the exit of the corkscrew as well, which I think gave him a bit of a rough ride. Meanwhile, for the lead, as the cars make their way through the right-hander at Church, it is Lyndon Thruston that is gathering momentum, and he's going to get alongside Martin Depper here now. They are absolutely side by side, the yellow DNC, the white Centaur, but the Centaur seems a little bit better on the brakes than does the DNC, and he gets into the lead, but he goes a bit too deep in the corner, actually, does Martin Depper, and that means that Lyndon Thruston gets the advantage and goes through into the lead on the exit of the corner. So on lap 3 there, Martin Depper outbraking himself a little bit at Rocket, and Lyndon Thruston goes through to lead. Is that going to be the case when they come back into view? No, it's not. Depper's back in front. The white car of Depper back ahead now, number 8. And then Thruston, number 23, in second position, dropping back down the hill, through the corkscrew, through the final left-hander, coming through to complete lap number 3 of what is probably going to be, again, we're probably going to get 11 laps out of this, I would think, because these cars lapping in just a little bit less than a minute and a half. The lap record for these cars is a 124.74 held by Anthony Reid. Well, the best we've had so far is by Christian Pedersen, a 127.17. He's there in 4th position, but he is catching now the cars ahead of him. So maybe Christian Pedersen in that Austin 7 will come on to it a little bit later on in the race. We've had around about 5 minutes or so of it already, and they're heading up towards Rocket once again. Depper, and Thruston locking up a little bit there in second place. It doesn't cost him too much time, I don't think, though. Slatter 3rd, and 4th is the car of Christian Pedersen. And bad news, I know, for Simon Bolt, who's watching on, because his old car has just retired from the race. Graham Wilson has come into the pit lane and driven straight into the paddock. So Graham Wilson out of the race now, I'm afraid. I think we lost 1 or 2 cars already, I'm afraid. Leaders making their way through the corkscrew again, and it's just calmed down a little bit in the last few moments, in that Martin Depper's put a bit of daylight between himself and number 8 and number 23, Lyndon Thruston. I think what we need to watch for now is 200, Christian Pedersen. He has gone through and he's closed the gap again to Trevor Slatter. Yeah, it's down to 0.6 of a second now. It was just under a second on the previous lap. And there's a car that is parked as well, trackside. And get the binoculars on that. It is the number 67 car. It's Paul Mason in the Aspley that is out. So Paul Mason, he's stopped between the banking and Church Corner, I'm afraid. So out of the race goes Paul Mason. He's been a race winner in historic 750 Formula. It's previous 750 trophy guys in the past, of course. So coming up to half race distance here in the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula race. Just to say that there's obviously the Austin 7 class here as well. That's being led by number 18, Tim Roebuck, in fifth position overall. Second position within that class is number 21. That's Alf Railing Cork. And third is number 20 in 9th position overall. That's Ian Grant. So that's how the Austin 7 class is looking. The leaders just starting to get in amongst some of the traffic now. I think possibly that's the 19 car of John Ingram, the Arthur, that is being lapped by the race leader Martin Depper. And he's still leading from number 23 in second place, Lyndon Thruston. 72, Trevor Slatter is 4th, and 200, Christian Pedersen is in 5th position. So a little bit of attrition in this race. These cars have already done a free practice session this morning, and the qualifying session as well. I don't know if any of the historic 750 Formula cars were here for testing yesterday as well. Certainly some of the Sports 1000s were, and we'll see those a bit later on. The gap's now just going out a little bit between each of the first 4 cars, with the exception of Christian Pedersen showing a great turn of speed now as they go right-handed past the school building and climb up towards the left-hander at Rocket. But actually, at the end of that straight, he loses a bit of ground again, as if he's not quite as good on the brakes. His brakes pads aren't quite as hot as those on the car of Trevor Slatter, the Centaur, up ahead of him. Various drivers doing their personal best laps. Ian Grant has just done his personal best, a 1:37.38. Lap record for the Austin Sevens is a 1:32.40. And, well, actually, Timothy Roebuck only half a second outside of that, so that's not too bad an effort at all. Now, I said the gaps were going out, but all of a sudden, Trevor Slatter, number 72 in the Centaur, is back on terms with number 23, Lyndon Thruston. So this is for second position. So let's wait and see how this situation develops. Are we going to get a change for second position? We're on to lap number 7. Disappeared from my view momentarily. Yeah, they come back into my sight, and yeah, it's still the same situation. Only about 2 car lengths between Slatter now, and he carries a lot more momentum through the sweeping right-hander at Church Corner, and he's going to pull alongside. And it's slightly slow motion stuff, but they are getting absolutely wheel to wheel now. Lyndon Thruston, who moves across to the right-hand side of the circuit, which is the side of the circuit that's being occupied by Trevor Slatter, who is going to go around the outside. Is he at the first part of the rocket? Yes, he is. And he's made that stick. And, I think Lyndon Thruston might have a problem. His car is coming to a halt, I'm afraid. Yes, so it's not just that Slatter went around the outside of him. Lyndon Thruston's car has broken, I'm afraid, and that's allowed Trevor Slatter to get through on lap 7. So that's going to give Martin Depper a very comfortable advantage. Now I can see that Lyndon's car is parked up at the top of the hill. He's getting out of the car. He's okay, but just I think something has broken on the car. So Martin Depper now with a big lead over the rest of the field. 6.68 seconds is the gap as they head through to start the 8th lap, but less than a second between Slatter, number 72, in second, and Christian Pedersen in third. We've yet to have our 4th place car through. That is going to be Johnny Sadler now, I think. Yes, because the Centaur Mark 16 driver has gone ahead of Timothy Roebuck in the Austin 7 Special. So Johnny Sadler, number 62, is now up into 4th position, and Tim Roebuck down to 5th place. We've had about 11 minutes of this race now, so 4 minutes of it left to go. Cars getting ready in the assembly area for the next race, which is the ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000s. The Austin 7s, Alf Raylan Cork, and 20, Ian Grant. And it looks like Frayling Cork is being caught possibly by Ian Grant. Yes, he is, by a few tenths on that lap. The gap between them down to about 2.5 seconds. Martin Depper coming through to complete his 8th lap. I think they will probably get 2 more laps. No, they'll get 3 more laps out of this. 3 more laps they'll get out of this race. Still Slatter, number 72, in second place, and Christian Pedersen, 200, in third position. And still Tim Roebuck, although he's lost 4th position overall, leading Class A. And so it's a frenetic start to this Raceparts Historic 750 Formula Series race, but things have settled down a little bit now. And we have lost a few cars as well. So Graham Wilson, Paul Mason, Lyndon Thruston, certainly we've lost. Obviously, Greg and Thruston didn't start the race. And I think James Miles, number 11, went into retirement as well. I think at the end of the first lap, he was straight into the pit lane. 42 car coming past me now is Tim Sage in the Mallock U2. And he's just in a personal best lap as well, a 1:30.80. He's in 6th position overall. Martin Depper heading back into the Cooks crew again. He'll be doing a bit more lapping before the end of this race. He'll have 2 more laps to go, so I think he will catch and pass. Certainly Alf Raylan Cork and Ian Grant are running in 7th and 8th position overall before the end of this race. He's already lapped Charlie Plain Jones, who's in 9th position. Over the line goes Trevor Slatter, and I think Christian Pedersen is a bit close this time. We'll get a look at the gap on the screen when it updates. Yes, down to 0.4 of a second between second and third now. Let's see if we are going to get the change then for second place. Certainly Martin Depper's a long way out in front now, 6 seconds clear, with just 2 laps remaining of this race. Slatter holding on for second place at the moment. But Pedersen has much better momentum and he's going to get alongside. He's going to get in front as they go past the school building. But we've seen earlier on in this race that he's not as good on the brakes into Rocket. And Slatter might be able to come back to him there. Slatter's on the inside line. Pedersen going quite deep into the corner, but he has done it this time. He sweeps through. But then I think it looks like the Dayglow orange car of Slatter's going to drive around the outside of him at Rocket 2. Let's see if he can fight back. Depper's back into my sight, and Pedersen's held on for second place at the moment. They're going to go on to the final lap now, because we've very nearly had our 15 minutes. The last lap board being shown by Stuart Dungate. And Martin Depper has seen that, and so too has Christian Pedersen, now in second place. And he's still got the fastest lap of the race as well, a 1:27.17. So Martin Depper, the 49-year-old CNC supervisor from Stourbridge, in that car that he's owned since 2014. It took 12 months to rebuild it. It was previously owned by Mike Dorset and by Paul Mason as well. Before he got into racing a few years ago, he competed in speed events, so hill climbs and sprints. And his racing highlight was Brands Hatch, 22nd of April 2018, winning the first race by 0.03 of a second after a close battle with Ben Mile. So they are up at Rocket for the final time in this race. And Depper coming back down the hill now. Checkered flags being made ready here. It is going to be second place for Christian Pedersen. He's just a bit tucked in behind the 21 Alf Railing Court car, the back marker. But Martin Depper takes the checkered flag to win for the second time this season in the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula Series. Second place to number 200, Christian Pedersen. Third place to number 72, Trevor Slatter, who I can't decide whether he's happy or exasperated with not being able to finish ahead of Christian Pedersen, but they pull alongside on the slowing down lap. I think they've enjoyed a good battle there. It's going to be a little while before the fourth place car comes through, which is that of Johnny Sadler. Here you can see the results on screen now as they get updated. In fourth place, it will be Johnny Sadler. He's just coming down through the corkscrew now. Then it will be Tim Roebuck, only just behind him in fifth, and Tim Sage in the Mallock sixth has closed in on him towards the end. And I think he's going to be the last car on the lead lap, is number 42, Tim Sage. So a rundown on the results then. The win going to number 8, Martin Depper. In second place, number 200, Christian Pedersen. Third to number 72, Trevor Slatter. Fourth place, number 62, Johnny Sadler. Fifth to number 18, Tim Roebuck. And sixth, number 42, Tim Sage. Tim Roebuck winning the Austin 7 class in fifth place overall. Second within that class, 21 Alf Railing Court, who was seventh. And third and eighth overall, number 20, Ian Grant. So there's another race a little bit later on for the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula Series. But coming up next, we will have the ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000s. Well, the car's now being released out onto the circuit for the ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000 Championship race. And this is going to be a slightly longer race, over 20 minutes. Just a short delay there while some of the historic 750 Formula cars were collected from where they'd stopped out on the circuit. And this is going to line up as follows. On pole position, number 54, Ryan Yarrow, and alongside him, number 5, Michael Roots. So Spire and Mattel on the front row. Second row, 2 and 27. 2 is Richard Morris, and 27 is Danny Andrew. The third row, 67 and 63. 67 is Victor Newman, 63, Colin Chapman. The fourth row, 72 and 18. 72, Johnny Mcgill, and 18, Stephen Bell. First time we've seen him out in that Spire. Then it is 87 and 44 on row 5. 87, Tom Johnston, and 44, Carl Austin. And 21, Phil Hutchins, is going to be at the back of the grid. Circuit is now clear, and that means that we can go into the countdown procedure ahead of this 20-minute race for the ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000 Championship. Ryan Yarrow leading by a single point from Richard Morris coming into this weekend. They have both had 2 wins apiece, both getting 1 each at Snetterton and Silverstone last time out. The red lights go on, though, and they go out, and away we go. Not a great start at all, I'm afraid, by Richard Morris, and he drops back to 4th position. And that means that it's Ryan Yarrow that gets the lead of the race, and Michael Roots follows him through into 2nd position as they make their way out towards the banking for the first time, which I could, if I wanted to pull my laptop off the worktop, go and have a look at, but I don't fancy risking it. But as they come back into my view, which is quite quickly in these cars, it is 54, Ryan Yarrow leading in the Spire then from number 27 in 2nd place. That's the Mattel of Danny Andrew in actual fact. So he's moved up to 2nd place. And the Mattel in 3rd place is that of Michael Roots. Richard Morris is 4th. Up to 5th place there at Rocket Corner went Victor Newman with a very late out-braking manoeuvre, and I think everyone else managed to keep out of his way because I think he was going through, come what may, under braking for Rocket. They turn their way out through the corkscrew then, and it's certainly Ryan Yarrow leading from Andrew, and from the 5 car of Michael Roots, then Richard Morris in 4th, a gap back to number 67, Victor Newman in 5th. It's Colin Chapman, number 63, in 6th place. Johnny Mcgill, number 72, is in 7th position. 8th looks to be number 21, Phil Hutchins. So he's made up a good few places as well. I can see that Ian Mattel is watching on from Mattel headquarters, presumably on the back at home on the south coast after being at Alton Park yesterday. So it's Yarrow that is leading in the Spire at the moment. Then there's 2 Mattels, Ian, 2nd and 3rd in the order. Danny Andrew and number 5, Michael Roots. Roots has a look up the inside of Andrew there as they head up towards Rocket, but then falls back into line. And Morris there in 4th place as well. He was a bit frustrated because he felt that he was even quicker than he was last year. But Ryan Yarrow has found a lot of time compared to his pace last year. It's a new Honda engine that's become available in the regulations for this season that Ryan is running, I believe. And he's leading at the moment. Number 54, the drive from Rochdale, from in 2nd place, 27, Danny Andrew. 3rd, number 5, Michael Roots, who's done a lot of karting and a little bit of low costing in the past. And he's under threat now from Richard Morris, who has a look up the inside going into turn 1, but he backs out of that move. He wasn't really quite close enough to make that work, I don't think. But he certainly had a go at the start of lap number 3. Let's see if he can do anything on the exit. Well, no, he's not been able to. He's still there in 4th place. Yarrow is pulling away, though. It's 1.36 seconds clear of the rest. I think Richard Morris would fancy that he'd be able to chase after Ryan Yarrow if he could get past these 2 Mattels, which are battling with each other yet again. It was Roots who looked to the outside of Danny Andrew that time as they went up to Rocket Corner. 2nd, 3rd and 4th, all very close together, nose to tail, really, but not yet changing order. Victor Newman still there in 5th place. Colin Chapman, number 63, in 6th place. 7th is number 72, Johnny Mcgill. Lap times here at the moment just below 1 minute 12, so we'll get something like 18 laps out of this race, I would think, for the ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000 cars. Fantastic series, which has evolved an awful long way from its RGB roots, where effectively we're getting road-going kit cars with motorcycle engines in them, but they've really developed a long way into proper sports prototype cars, albeit running on treaded tyres. But it is just about the most bang for your buck you can get in terms of lap time per pound spent on your racing, I think. That's for sure. Some very impressive pieces of kit as well here from both Spire and Mittal, the only two manufacturers represented on the grid here today. Hopefully Paul Nightingale's also able to follow on from home, the man behind Spire. Wish him well. Wish that he gets well soon, which is why he's not here this weekend. Tim Gray running the Richard Morris car, which Paul normally looks after. Tim himself, a former multiple champion with the 750 Motor Cup in at least 3 different categories. Anyway, it's the 54 car of Ryan Yarrow that continues to lead here. No change in the order, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. There's been a little bit of jousting and posturing between the 3 of them. And there it came from Michael Roots through the final turn, but it actually cost him a couple of car lengths, and it meant that Richard Morris put him under a bit more pressure. Now, Morris, you can see, carried a lot more speed out of turn 1 there, and I'm not quite sure whether that's going to have turned into an opportunity to get ahead at the banking. The answer is yes, it has. So we've had the change. Richard Morris now up to 3rd place at the banking at the start of lap 5. Can Michael Roots come back at him, though? That's the question we ask ourselves as they make their way up to Rocket. Roots about a car and a half length behind him. Victor Newman looked to get the car a bit out of shape there through the first part of Rocket, I thought. We'll see if he's lost any positions. He was about a second and a half clear of Colin Chapman as they came across the line that time. So, Ryan Yarrow, 54, is leading. In 2nd place is number 27, Danny Andrew, former low-cost champion, of course. In 3rd place is number 2 now, Richard Morris, on his 2nd season of racing in Sports 1000. In 4th place, number 5 is Victor Newman. 6th is number 63, Colin Chapman, so Newman didn't lose any places there. 7th is number 72, Johnny Mcgill. 8th is number 21, Phil Hutchins. 9th is 44, Carl Austin. He's just coming across the line now. 10th is 87, Tom Johnston. And Stephen Bell, on his first time out in this particular Spire, is in 11th place. No, that's changed now because Phil Hutchins has dropped back to the back of the order. So each of those was up 1, and it's Phil Hutchins now at the back. Richard Morris there, as he goes up towards Rocket, coming under a little bit of pressure from Michael Roots. He's keen to get 3rd place back, but he couldn't do anything about it. I think Victor Newman's catching them. Yes, he is on that lap. Victor Newman, or the last lap, was about 8 tenths per second faster than the car ahead of him. Ryan Yarrow getting some support, you can see, on the streamed commentary. He's still leading the race, and pleased to report for Laura. But the next 3 and almost the next 4 now, because Victor Newman really is closing in on this battle. Not a lot to choose between them at all. It's still 27, Danny Andrew in 2nd place. Ryan Yarrow, Richard Morris, number 2 in 3rd position. Just having a look at the gap between Yarrow and the rest. It's 4.13 seconds now. That time through, actually, Newman lost a little bit of ground to Michael Roots, who did his personal best lap of the race. So maybe it was a short-lived hope there for Victor Newman. 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Sweeping through the right-hander at Church, past the racing school building. Fantastic backdrop of the Irish Sea behind them. Sun glistening off it now. It was raining here at Anglesey first thing this morning, and Richard Morris has got alongside Danny Andrew at the first part of Rocket there. Now, can he go all the way around the outside, which you'll need to, I think, at the 2nd part of Rocket to make that work? Again, tantalisingly out of my view at Peel. If we get them back into our sight at the moment. Ryan Yarrow is already at the corkscrew, so he's really pulling away from the rest. Yeah, Richard Morris couldn't make that work. It was a lot to ask, but he did try and go all the way around the outside. Danny Andrew there at Rocket. So no change in the order. And I think that squabbling has brought Victor Newman back on terms with them again. The gap has come down from 4th to 5th. Yeah, he was 0.8 of a second faster than Michael Roots that time, but that I think was down to Andrew and Morris and Roots falling over one another there. Morris is going to have another go at Andrew into Church Corner, trying to get alongside the Mittel, but Andrew closed the door. He gets a good run off the turn, though. Then they have this long back straight, but really it's a sweeping right-handed curve up to the top of the hill. Morris has got his nose in front, but he's on the outside line. He's a bit earlier on the brakes as well. So Danny Andrew able to hold on, and I think he will continue to hold on all the way through the second part of the Rocket Corner, which is the right-hander. I've disappeared from my sight once again. Ryan Yarrow continues to lead in this race. As I say, is 1 point ahead of Richard Morris coming into this weekend. After this meeting, there's just one more event to go. That's back at Snetterton in October on the 300 circuit. So this could be a decisive weekend in the championship. 8 rounds in the championship this year. And it's the best 7 of those that count. Good to see a number of you watching on. Sorry that we've not got sort of better trackside cameras for you, but this really is something of an experiment to try and bring you some commentary on the events that aren't fully live streamed by Alpha Live. But we might well do some more of this, and we'll continue to refine and improve the setup as meetings go by. No change in the order at the moment. Victor Newman, though, continues to close in on the 3 cars ahead of him. So Richard Morris is going to be surrounded by 3 blue Mittels before much longer, I think. I'll be keen, if he can, to get ahead of all 3 of them. But he's got Danny Andrew, number 27, still ahead. You can see heading down through the corkscrew, number 54, Ryan Yarrow. And then, yeah, the Mittels in 2 different shades of blue are all together now. 27 Danny Andrew ahead of 2 Richard Morris in the Spire, and then 5 Victor Newman and 67, 5 Michael Roots and 67 Victor Newman. Stephen Bell's up to 9th place now, did his personal best on the last lap, a 1 minute 12.32. So actually, the whole spread of times for the field is only about 2.5 seconds. So it's actually pretty competitive out there. 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th sweeping through Church. And again, Richard Morris is able to draw alongside Danny Andrew here, but Andrew will only let him do so on the right-hand side of the circuit, which is the outside line then for the first part of Rocket. And Morris tucks back in behind him, and he'll be frustrated here that he's not able to do anything about this. He'll also be frustrated that he made a rather poor start, because he was saying to me at the lunch break that he knew that the start would be the crucial part of this race to try and get ahead of Ryan Yarrow and then defend. But alas, his race has been all about attack so far, but not attacking, alas. Ryan Yarrow, who's more than 8 seconds up the road now, I think. He's just come through to complete his 10th lap, I beg your pardon, 12 minutes of the race gone. And 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th come over the line now. Morris shows his nose to Danny Andrew again, but the problem is the start and finish straight into turn 1 is such a short straight. You don't really gather enough momentum to really get your car fully alongside your nose at where it needs to be to try and make a move into turn 1. Just isn't the time to do it, I'm afraid. Good scrap going on between Stephen Bell and Carl Austin now, because Stephen Bell is up into 8th place in car number 18 in the Spire GT3S. So Carl Austin, who made his debut only about 12 months ago, back down to 9th place. For 2nd position, though, no change in the order as they head up towards Rocket. Really good close racing this, but it is pretty hard to overtake here at Anglesey. So it's not surprised that we get a bunch of cars together here without any real overtaking. Ryan Yarrow just threading his way through the corkscrew, coming through again to complete his 11th lap now. Got a feeling that Colin Chapman in 6th position might just be starting to edge towards the back of this group of 4 cars that's headed by Danny Andrew. Just have a look at the times on that lap when they update on the screen. Yeah, Andrew did an 11.9, Morris a 12.0, Roots a 12.2, Newman a 12.4, and Colin Chapman a 12.5. Almost an identical. Oh, but Ryan Yarrow's now got problems. The race leader's got problems. The smoke pouring from the back of the number 54 car as he heads along the straight from church to school. And I think he realises he's got a problem. His car is slowing up and he heads up towards Rocket. He's got Richard Morris chasing after him now because Morris has also made it through into second place. That must have happened up at the banking, but surely this is now going to turn into the lead for Richard Morris. So on lap 12, it is all happening. All of a sudden. Fascinating to know exactly how Richard Morris got up to second place. It was out of our view. Sadly, we've not got the possibility of drive interviews here, but look, there is Richard Morris now in the lead of the race. Ryan Yarrow is still circulating. That the smoke has stopped. Is he going to be able to continue though? No, I think he's going to pull into the pits. Yeah, being encouraged off by the marshal as well. So Richard Morris was third a lap ago, and now he leads here at Anglesey. It's his favourite circuit as well. He's been really looking forward to coming here. That's what's happened because Danny Andrews' car has come to a halt as well. He has stopped on the exit of the banking, and I will just get my binoculars to get a better look. Yeah, there's no damage to Danny Andrews' car, I don't think, so it does look like it's a mechanical issue that has afflicted two cars there in quick succession. So Danny Andrew and Ryan Yarrow both on the same lap. That's absolutely bizarre. And Richard Morris now leads. So the order now is number 2, Richard Morris leading. Number 5, Michael Roots in second place. In third place, number 67, Victor Newman. In fourth place, number 63, Colin Chapman. In fifth place, number 72, Johnny Mcgill. In sixth place, number 18, Stephen Bell. In seventh place, number 44, Carl Austin. In eighth place, number 87, Tom Johnston. And ninth, number 21, Phil Hutchins. As Richard Morris comes through now to complete what will be lap number 13. We've had just under 16 minutes of this race, so 4 minutes left to go now. Just over 4 minutes. I think we probably will get 4 laps out of it. So it's going to be a 17-lap race in actual fact, I think. So Danny Andrew out and Ryan Yarrow out, both of them retiring in quick succession. And of course, it's a relatively quick turnaround. It's only going to be an hour and a half before the second race. So any work that needs doing will have to be done pretty quickly by the teams. And of course, there's very limited personnel here to allow social distancing. This is, as I say, a test event, one of just 3 official test events being sanctioned by the Welsh Government to see if the numbers at outdoor events can be increased. This is the only race meeting here at Anglesey Circuit, organised by the 750 Motor Club. So Richard Morris making his way back down the hill. On the last lap, actually, interestingly, he did the best lap of the race, a 1 minute 10.81. So it did prove rather that he had been bottled up behind Danny Andrew there. And since he's been unleashed, he's been able to make a real go of it. Someone else making a real go of it actually is Johnny Mcgill in the number 72 car in 5th position, because I think over the last few laps he's been bringing the gap down to Colin Chapman, number 63, who's in 4th position. Just to disprove my point, he's actually a little bit slower on the last lap, but nevertheless it's pretty close actually for 4th and 5th positions. As Richard Morris now has a lead of 1.2 seconds over Michael Roots, who's just on his personal best lap of the race, a 1:11.0. Richard Morris done another lap in the 10s, a 1 minute 10.89, so he's proving he's got the pace. Pole position time for Ryan Yarrow this morning was a 1:09.85, but his best time in the race was at a 1:11.05, so about 1.2 seconds off what he'd done this morning. Whereas Richard Morris, with that 1:10.8, is only about 0.3 off the time he did in qualifying this morning. And he continues to lead. And now, problems for Michael Roots as well. Michael Roots going very slowly. The second place driver is still circulating. Just, I wonder if he missed a gear or I don't know what happened there. Is he going to head to the pit lane? No, he's not. But it's Victor Newman now up into second place. Michael Roots back up to speed, it would seem. He's in third. Colin Chapman, number 63, in fourth. And 72, Johnny Mcgill in fifth. And they're all together now. And we have got, 2 laps to go in this race. So it will be a 17-lap race. Richard Morris is in a 1:10.63 now, so he's gone faster still. But now it's Victor Newman second, Michael Roots third, Colin Chapman fourth, and fifth is Johnny Mcgill. So it's Spire, Mittel, Spire in the top 5. Richard Morris has disappeared up towards Rocket for the penultimate time in this race. So this will put him in good stead for the championship. For Ryan Yarrow, this will be the score he will drop. Hopefully, for his point of view, he will be back out for race number 2. If not, it could be a pretty crucial weekend in the championship with only 1 score being dropped from the 8 this season. Last lap board is now going out to number 2, which is Richard Morris, of course. And a slightly slower lap from him that time, back into the 11s again. But they are queuing up for second now because it's Michael Roots that's back on terms with Victor Newman. So on this final lap, can he challenge Victor Newman for second place? It disappeared from my sight. It looks like it is still the 67 car ahead, but Roots carries a lot more speed through Church Corner. Can he do anything about him then as they climb the hill past the school building and towards Rocket? About 2 car lengths between them. And they almost seem to be following each other through Rocket there. First part of Rocket. Doesn't look like there's anything coming there from Michael Roots in the way of an attack. So Richard Morris then is heading down the hill through the corkscrew, running third for a lot of this race. Retirement of 2 cars ahead of him have helped him out, although he has been the quickest driver out there. He takes the checkered flag and wins round 5 of the 2020 ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000 Championship. It is going to be number 67, Victor Newman, that gets his best result yet. A second position. He's had 1 previous podium. Third place to number 5, Michael Roots. In 4th place, number 63, Colin Chapman. And 5th is number 72, which is Jonathan Mcgill. As we have a look at the results there. Waiting for the next car to come through. It is, in fact, going to be the number 18 car in the end of Stephen Bell that takes 6th position. 7th place goes the way of number 44, Carl Austin. And then, 8th is going to be number 21, Phil Hutchins. And 9th, number 87, Tom Johnson. He's going to be the final finisher because we lost Ryan Yarrow and Danny Andrew back on lap 12 of that race. So very well done and congratulations to Richard Morris, who moves into the championship lead. The Sports 1000 cars back out a little bit later on. But coming up next, we'll have the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hatches. So the car's coming out onto the track now for the second race of the day in the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hatch Championship. And the grid for this one, based on the second fastest times from qualifying this morning, lines up as follows. On the front row, 71 and 3, 71 Pip Hammond and 3 Andrew Thorpe. Second row, 83 and 53, 83 Jeff Humphries and 53 Ryan Morgan. Third row, 12 and 41, 12 James Hazelhurst and 41 Jason Wood. Fourth row, 88 and 39, 88 Martin Kayser and 39 Martin Rogers. The fifth row, 89 and 24, 89 Richard Kelsall and 24 James Hancock. The sixth row, 14 and 21, 14 David Sheekey and 21 Ian Gribbin. The seventh row, 77 and 18, 77 Derek Rosier and 18 Darren Bassingthwaite. And on the eighth and final row, number 58 Pete Osgerby. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 cars on the grid, so they're all there. 30-second board is shown, 5-second board is shown already, and the second race of the afternoon for the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hatch Championship. It's round 6 of 10 this season, gets underway now. A pretty even start from the two front row men. That's Pip Hammond and Andrew Thorpe as they make their way up towards turn number 1. Andrew Thorpe a little bit over the curbs on the exit of turn number 1 there. And he has the inside line there for the banking. Who comes out in front, though? It is Andrew Thorpe that takes the lead from Pip Hammond in second place. In third place, Ryan Morgan. Fourth place, Jeff Humphries. In fifth place is Jason Wood, but Pip Hammond getting alongside Andrew Thorpe now. He's got his nose in front, and Ryan Morgan is trying to follow him through as well. Jeff Humphries is also going to try and follow through. So as they head up towards Rocket and around the outside, has Andrew Thorpe lost 3 places? He's lost 2 places. Pip Hammond and Ryan Morgan both passing him on the back straight into Rocket. So as they make their way, I'll sort the trackside camera out in a moment, that has just fallen over. But it is Pip Hammond that leads then. Ryan Morgan in second place. In third position is the number 83 car of Jeff Humphries. In fourth place is the number 3 car of Andrew Thorpe. That it's Jason Wood, number 41 in fifth place. And in sixth place, it's the number 88 car of Martin Kayser. Right, apologies for that. We will try again with that trackside camera, see if that will work again. Let's go for that now. And anyway, it is no change in the order. Other than that, Andrew Thorpe's now dropped back down to fourth position. So it's Pip Hammond leading, Ryan Morgan in second place, Jeff Humphries now in third, and Andrew Thorpe in fourth place. Fifth position is Jason Wood in the Nova, number 41, and sixth place is number 88, Martin Kayser. Reminder that earlier on today it was Ryan Morgan that took the win from Pip Hammond and Jeff Humphries. Turning their way through the right-hander at Church now and on towards School. Jeff Humphries on his own a little bit there in third position. In fourth position, Andrew Thorpe has got Jason Wood close behind him, and Martin Kayser and James Hazelhurst in the white 205 as well. And I think that's Kayser that just locks up a little bit, actually, going into Rocket that time. Oh, and also going very deep into the corner there was Titch Kelsall, number 89. Richard Kelsall in 9th position. But he has made it through the corner there. Went a lot deeper into it than he was hoping for. Here's Pip Hammond, though, heading back down the hill into my view at the corkscrew. And he has Ryan Morgan still behind him. So Pip will be keen to get the victory here. He's the championship lead, of course. The gap will have been narrowed in the first race by Ryan Morgan defeating him. Jeff Humphries, the double winner from Brands Hatch, a little bit further back in the championship in 4th position, but Lee Scott, who's not here this weekend, will drop back. In the classic stock catches, it's a 10-round championship this year, and it's the best 8 results that will count. And so you can afford to miss a full meeting, but then not really to have any more misfortune beyond that. And Scott about 10 or 11 points behind Hammond and Morgan anyway coming into this weekend. So no real changes just at the moment. The other car that's in the leading group is Martin Rogers in 8th position. And the Peugeot 205 GTI, he finished 7th in race 1. He actually finished a bit higher on the road, but had a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. Up towards the second part of Rocket they go and out of our view. At the moment, it looks like it's Derek Rosier, number 77, that's in 15th and final position. If he's got a problem, he just did his best lap of the race, 1:27.06 on the previous lap. I think he may have had a moment at some point already during this race to drop him back a little bit. He started on the second to last row of the grid, but he's right at the back now. Pip Hammond and Ryan Morgan being back through towards me then to complete lap number 4 of this race. And it should be 11 laps, I would think. Third place, Jeff Humphries. 4th place is Andrew Thorpe. We're going to get a change for 6th, though, are we? Because it's the number 12, James Hazelhurst car that was briefly at the inside of Martin Kaiser there. 4th, 6th position at turn number 1. I don't think Hazelhurst could make that stick. So on to the back straight they go. Hammond and Morgan. It's a bit more spread out than often you see in the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hatch Championship. Martin Rogers got ahead of Hazelhurst, but he may have compromised himself with that attack on Kaiser into turn 1. He's trying to get back ahead of Rogers now. The two Peugeot 205s alongside one another. And Rogers is just about hanging on as they go into Rocket that time. Well clear of Titch Kelsall in 9th and number 21, Ian Gribben in 10th position. Best lap of the race so far, Pip Hammond at 1:23.69, 5/100ths slower than he managed in the earlier race. Turn their way through the left-hander at the end of the lap now to Hammond in the Nova and Morgan in the XR2. And the gap between them was 0.6 of a second. Falling off his chair, and it's now still about 0.6 of a second. 0.58 seconds is now the gap between the two of them. Both of them a little bit slower that time than they have been already in this race. Jeff Humphries, number 83, still 3rd. Andrew Thorpe, number 3, still in 4th position. Jason Wood in 5th. And Martin Kaiser in 6th position. So relatively muted and quiet Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hatch Championship race at the moment. James Hancock, though, now has dropped to the back of the pack. So he had a slow lap that time, a 1:32.74. So maybe he had a bit of a moment somewhere out of my sight. The leaders are Rocket once again. Along the back straight goes Jason Wood, number 41 in 5th position, one of the PDC racing cars. The leaders now heading down through the course again. And Ryan Morgan really not giving Pip Hammond any respite. It's Ryan's first season of racing on the circuits, at least. It's lots on the ovals. He's really adapted to it very well. Pip, of course, has been racing in this category for many years now. The Class B Stock Hatch Championship titles. Actually, that was for Classic Stock Hatch cars before they were separated out into the Championship just a few years ago now. And he is one of the more successful drivers in this category, although for most of the last decade he's not done the every round of the championship. He's just an occasional race. He's quite often been a race winner. Pip Hammond, number 71. Last time through, Ryan Morgan did his personal best actually, 1:23.75, but it was only 100th faster than Pip Hammond on that particular lap. Martin Rogers in 8th place, dropping back a little bit now from back for 6th to Martin Hayes number 88 and James Hazelhurst number 12. The two of those cars alongside one another now. Hazelhurst, I think, has put the car fully alongside him. Yes, he has. So James Hazelhurst in 6th position there, but probably outbreaks himself at Rocket. Kaiser goes straight back through on the inside in his Fiesta XR2i. So Kaiser back up to 6th position. He lost it for about 200 yards, that position. Leaders came back down towards this is to complete lap number 7 now. So 4 laps to go at the end of this one, I reckon. Over the finish line they go, and that time through the gap has changed from 0.57 to 0.6. The gap has been again 300 of a second of what it is now for the last 4 laps. So these two really are quite closely matched. Kelsall doing the personal best lapping Gribben in the checkerboard roofed blue Fiesta XR2. Gets across the line in 10th place there. Pete Osgood having a better race in 11th position. And then a good scrap actually with 12th, 13th and 14th between David Sheehy in his second classic stock catch race. Derek Roger in the Peugeot 205 GTR and Darren Bassingthwaighte who had that cylinder head change last night. Hammond and Morgan are up at Rocket. Morgan, the son of Pete Morgan, who's been a competitor in classic stock catch for a number of years. Previously his stock catch, he's also raced historic minis and things like that over the past few seasons. But Pete Morgan, a winner in classic stock catch last year. Ryan Morgan picking up the mantle this year. Through the right-hand part of the corkscrew they go. Hammond and Morgan. I suspect the gap's going to be something like what it has been for the last few laps, about 6/10 of a second as they go across the line that time. Let's have a look. Oh, it's actually a bit less, 0.35 seconds. A much better lap by Morgan relative to Hammond that time. And they're out of my sight at the banking once again. Hammond still with his nose in front. Both of them, in some ways, with a similar livery, sort of a diagonal stripe of a different colour down the middle third of the car. Now, Morgan this time is challenging it. They go up past the school, breaking out for the Rocket, and he's able to go through, but he's got an overlap. He's on the outside line for the right-hand element of Rocket here. Out of view once again. They go, but Morgan almost like he's playing a waiting game for past few laps. Now we're getting into the final 2.5 laps of this race. I think he's woken up to the fact that he's start challenging. He's going to get the win away from Pip Hammond here. They are nearly 7 seconds clear from the rest of the field. Jeff Humphries on his own really in third place. Had a quite quiet race, I must say, by classic stock catch standards, as has had before, really, because Jason Ward hasn't done that much of a threat. So 9 laps completed. We're going to go on to the ultimate lap of this race then. See the cars turning into turn number 1 there. And away into towards the banking. On to lap 10 of the race. Can Pip Hammond keep hold of this one and win a piece between himself and his championship rival during the course of this weekend? 2 weeks to go up this. They go to Mallory Park next month and Silverstone in November. Morgan again tries to get the overlap on Hammond, but I don't think he's as close enough as he was on the previous lap at Rocket Corner. And so, at the moment, remains in second place. Third place, Humphries, 4th place, Thorpe, 5th place, Wood, 6th place, Hazelhurst, 7th place, Kaiser. Martin Rogers is just behind him now. So the red 205 just behind the white XR2i. Pip Hammond and Ryan Morgan back into my view, down through the corkscrew. And they will get the last lap board this time. Stewart's on the start line, gets the board displayed to Pip Hammond. So Ryan Morgan either running out of opportunities or now realising this is the time to catch each opportunity, depending on your point of view. Jeff Humphries has gone across the line in third, number 83, fourth, number 3, Andrew Thorpe, and fifth, number 41, Jason Wood, sixth, number 12, James Hazelhurst. Is that a dent in the door of Martin Case's car that he's picked up at some point along the way during the course of the day? Passenger side door. Might well be. Hammond and Morgan then heading along the backstretch. Morgan about 3 or 4 car lengths behind Nova at this point, but that gap is coming down as they get towards the top of the hill and the braking point for Rocket. But Morgan seemingly unable to do anything about him there. Sets the car up for, I think, a look on the inside as the right-hand part of the corner. Head back out towards us for the final time. They're not going to lap anyone in this race. James Hancock is about to go on to his final lap, but they're not going to catch him. About a car length between Hammond and Morgan as they head into the corkscrew for the final time. Is there going to be a final lunge into the left-hander from Morgan? The answer to that question is no, it would seem. So they come through the final corner. It's a very good race. Pip Hammond to come through to take victory, and Ryan Morgan second place. And the fastest lap will go to Pip Hammond as it did in the first race. So just by a slim margin, Pip Hammond has had the better weekend out of the himself, Ryan Morgan. And would slightly extend that lead in the championship going into the next meeting at Mallory Park. Third across the line is number 83, Jeff Humphries. Fourth to number 3, Andrew Thorpe. In fifth place, number 41, Jason Wood. Sixth is number 12, James Hazelhurst. Seventh, number 88, Martin Kayser. Eighth to number 39, Martin Rogers. Ninth, 89, Richard Kelsall. Then 10th across the line now is number 21, Ian Crippen. 11th is the number 58 car of Pete Moscovy, so 4 places to his previous result. 12th, with his rear wiper hanging off by the looks of it, is number 77, Derek Rosier. 13th, number 14, David Sheekey. 15th to number 24, James Hancock. And it is, yes, he's the final finisher. So if we just have a look at those results. There's the confirmation, and the Pip Hammond got the win by 1.43 seconds from Ryan Morgan. So car 71 the winner, 53 Ryan Morgan in second place, and number 83 Jeff Humphries in third. Pip Hammond getting the fastest lap as well, 1:23.69, 5/100 seconds slower than it was in the earlier race. 2 more races to go here at Anglesey today. Next up, it's going to be the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula Series. So the car's being released out onto the circuit now for the penultimate race of the afternoon here at Anglesey Circuit. It's the second race of the afternoon for the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula Series. The grid is going to line up as follows. Front row 8 and 7, 8 Martin Depper, 7 Graham Wilson. Second row 23 and 223, Lyndon Fruston and 200, Christian Pedersen. Third row 72 1, 72 Trevor Slatter, 1 Greg Fruston, again missing though. Fourth row 18 and 62, 18 Tim Roebuck and 62 Johnny Sadler. Row 5, 42 and 20, 42 Tim Sage and 20 Ian Grant. The sixth row 21 and 22, 21 Alfred Cook and 22 Charlie Plain Jones. The seventh row 29 and 67, 29 is Roy Wetherill and 67 Paul Mason. And the eighth row 19 and 11, 19 John Ingram and 11 James Marsden. Pleased to report that all of the cars that DNF'd in race 1, that was Lyndon Fruston, Paul Mason and Graham Wilson, are all back out again. The only one missing therefore is Greg and Fruston, that also missed race 1. Red lights go on, they go out now, and it's a good stop by Martin Depper. Christian Pedersen that's going to move through. I think it's Lyndon Fruston that's going to move through to second position, but not such a bad start by Graham Wilson this time. He holds on to third position behind Martin Depper and Lyndon Fruston into turn number 1. And they've disappeared from my sight for the moment, and then they will sweep through the right-hander at Church. Trevor Slatter has moved up into third position, I can see, behind Depper and Fruston. And then in fourth place, it is Graham Wilson. In fifth place, it's Johnny Sadler. But side by side for the lead of the race here. And it is going to be the yellow car potentially. Lyndon Fruston has the advantage then as they go up into Rocket. Of course, it was a retirement from race 1. Let's see if he has better fortune on this occasion. It was Martin Depper, Christian Pedersen and Trevor Slatter, who's your top 3 in race 1 a little bit early on in the afternoon. And they come back down towards us in order. Fruston, Depper and Slatter, DNC 2 Centaurs. Bit of a mistake there by Martin Depper that allowed Slatter to get halfway alongside him. Fourth place is Graham Wilson, fifth place is Christian Pedersen, sixth place is Johnny Sadler, Class 8, seventh class leader Tim Roebuck, number 18, 7th position overall, and side by side the Austin Sevens between 20, which is Ian Grant, and 21, which is Alfred Cook, and they're disputing second place within the Austin 7 class, but it is Fruston that leads there. Go through Church for the second time from Depper and Slatter. And Pedersen gets past Graham Wilson there, past him along the back stretch into 4th position. As James Miles, I'm afraid, goes into retirement again. A beautiful number 11, Austin 7. Drive from Billingshurst, I'm afraid a long drive home, having competed only a couple of laps in race conditions. It's a great shame. It's a lovely looking Austin 7, that one. Sort of pale blue car. He's out of the race once again. Leaders back towards us. It's getting a bit closer, actually. Firstly, the time for Graham Wilson is back ahead of Christian Pedersen, up into 4th position. But really, it's 5 cars almost together for the lead now. 23 Lyndon Fruston still leading then. In second place, number 8, Martin Depper. In third position, it's the number 72 car of Trevor Slatter. 4th, 7, Graham Wilson. Number 200, Christian Pedersen. A gap back then to 6th place, number 62, Johnny Sadler. 7-wise is still Tim Roebuck ahead in number 18, but the top 3 absolutely together now as they head through Church Corner once again. And Depper, I think this time, has a run on Fruston, but Slatter has a run on both of them here, and they're going to go 3 wide past the school building. Very small cars, of course, so they can make this work. Slatter, though, now has got his nose in front. Edison is slowing a little bit as they go up the hill towards Rocket. Order they come out, it's Slatter, Thruston, Depper now the order. So a good run there at the start of halfway around the third lap for Trevor Slatter on the back straight. Take 2 cars to lead. See if he's held on to that when they come back into view on the exit of Peel. He has. It is genuinely 4 cars for the lead now, though, with Graham Wilson right in there as well in the time 3B, which Simon Bolt had some wins in during the course of last season. 2 wins, 5 second places Simon had in 2019. Edison right in there as well. So top 5 at the end of 3 laps of racing, covered by less than 2.5 seconds. So that's really good close racing this from the Raceparts Historic 750 Formula Series. Watching it on as now Depper gets up the inside of Lyndon Fuston at Church Corner, and he goes through to take 2nd position. Can Lyndon Fuston fight back along the back straight now? He's going to try to. Graham Wilson waiting in the wings as well. There's double waved yellow, as you can see, at the top of the hill. So I think we may have lost someone. Possibly, well, we've lost 2 cars, I think, on the view. Paul Mason and John Ingram haven't come back round. I'm not sure if they managed to get themselves together because they're quite a long way apart on track. It could be just that one of them is stranded up at the top of the hill, but double waved yellows at between Rocket and Peel. So the 90 car John Ingram is still circulating. So it's Paul Mason that's gone. He is the one that's lost. It's going to be John Ingram that's going to be lapped very shortly, indeed, I think, by Martin Depper, who's taken the lead at the top of the circuit. Martin was involved in some controversy behind yellow flags, or yellow flags at Mallory Park last time out. So let's hope there's no such controversy this time. So down Martin Depper, number 8, that leads by half a second from number 72, Trevor Slatter. Number 23, Lyndon Fuston in 3rd place. 7th, Graham Fuston in 4th. 5th place is the 200 car of Christian Pedersen. In 6th place is number 62, Jonathan Sadler, who's a bit further behind the rest of them. And 7th is number 42, Tim Sage. Side by side for the lead of the race is Slatter. Has got his nose in front. They go towards Rocket, heading back against the yellow flag zone again. It's been migrated to a single wave yellow now. And I think you can see Paul Mason out of his car. Yeah, it's partway between the second part of Rocket and then the next right-hander at Peel, named after John Peel, who the DJ, of course, who spent some time here when this was an army base many years ago. So it's Depper that's held on to the lead of the race at the moment then, from Slatter in 2nd place, Lyndon Fuston in 3rd position, in 4th place the car of Graham Wilson, time. Then in 5th place it is the number 200 car of Christian Pedersen. In 6th place is the well, it's been a change actually. The 2 car of Tim Sage, because he's got ahead of Johnny Sadler now. So it was a slow lap from Sadler that time, about 5 seconds off his normal pace. Still circulating, and he looks to be back at speed now. So maybe he's got a bit of a moment somewhere out of view. So Depper now getting away a little bit from Slatter. 55 100 at the start of that. But each of the top 4 drivers did their best lap race on the last lap, which was lap 5. Should be an 11 lap racing. Well, that's what we had in the earlier contest. The slippery surface flag now being shown as well at the marshal's post at the corkscrew. So I think someone is putting some fluid down on the circuit. Spread around the lap that is. There's certainly something to potentially trouble the drivers. The leaders are heading down the hill once again into the corkscrew. And it's Martin Depper, number 8, that leads from number 72, Trevor Slatter. Then a gap back to 23 and 7, which is Lyndon. Under quite a bit of pressure from Graham Wilson, and also under pressure from the leaders. Therefore, Travis Slatter up inside, going into the one, and he goes through. So Trevor Slatter really takes the lead at the start of lap 7. He now leads Trevor Slatter in the Centaur Mark 11, Centaur Mark 14 of Martin Depper, now in second place, and it's almost side by side third as well. Graham Wilson's got his nose in front, they're absolutely side by side. Wilson and Lyndon Thruster, and Wilson just about made that stick. So he's up to third place at Church Corner. So nice move there. Thruster will try and fight back on the way up towards Rocket. Wilson's got to repel his initial challenge, and Thruster just sits behind him really as they go into left-hander at Rocket now. Glorious afternoon here at Anglesey after an unpromising start to the day. You can see ever more of the mountains of Snowdonia across the water from the commentary box here. Just to update you, in the Austin 7 class, it has been a change because Tim Roebuck has gone into retirement by the looks of it. And that means now that it is Al Frayling Cork and Ian Grant that are disputing the lead. There's only 1.2 seconds between them, just into third number one. Carl was lapped by the leaders. Trevor Slatter from Graham Wilson and Lyndon Thruster in fourth, Christian Pedersen fifth, and Johnny Sadler back up to sixth place by the looks of it now. So he's had a bit of a yo-yo type race. So the leader's catching the 29 car from Roy Weatherball to lap him in actual fact at the moment in his Austin 7. He's running in 11th place. The top four now are up onto that. So a bit like the first race really, this, where it was really quite something for the first half of the 15 minutes, and the second half it has quietened down a little bit. We have got, I think, 3 more laps to go at the end of the fifth one in this Raceparts Historic 754-minute series race. Hopes of Lyndon Thruster's first win. Season looks to be receding. Remember, we've had 2 wins now on Depper this year, and 1 for Travis Slatter. Leaders making their way through Corkscrew again. They can complete lap number 8 now. Their next target to lap is just a special of number 22, Charlie Payne Jones, who's running in 4th position. No, correction, 3rd position. Second behind Travis still in great Martin Depper, then 3rd, 7th, Graham Wilson, 4th, number 23, Lyndon Thruster. Just having a look at what's going on amongst the Austin 7s. Well, it looks to spread itself out a little bit now. Ian Grant dropped again. So I like that time for Ian Grant, number 20. It's fall behind Al Frayling Cork. 50-year-old supply chain manager from Reading. And the car that Ian Grant's racing originally built was made by Tim Mile. And Ian's owned it since 2014, and it's been racing continuously in historic 750 Formula since then. Johnny Sadler, with his now racing in 6th position in car 62, 28-year-old from Midhurst in West Sussex. And this car was recently owned by the John Gasky, who was racing in Slanders in period, Centaur Mark 16. And Johnny has done a variety of historic and vintage race cars, including a 1929 Rosengart. 20, Ian Grant goes over the line, just ahead of the leaders, who are going to start their 10th lap now, Slatter and Martin Depper. The best lap of the race so far, by the way, is 26.47 for Martin Depper. So that's faster than Christian Pedersen went in the first race, well outside the lap, which is held by Anthony Reid, the former British Touring Car Championship driver and Le Mans driver, who raced in historic 750 Formula here about 3 years ago now. It was as part of a feature of Autosport racing. Historic 750 Formula. So Anthony Reid with the lap record here. Doesn't look as if that's going to be under threat today, particularly. Gap from first to second, actually 2 seconds. There's about 5.5 between second and third, and just over a second between third and fourth, which is Graham Wilson at 7 and first at number 23. Christian Pedersen is another 4.5 seconds behind Fusston in 5th position, and Johnny Sadler 12 seconds behind him in 6th place. Austin 7 wide, it's 8.6 seconds between Alfred and Corky and Grant, as that gap continuing to go out. Leaders are a bit close this time, I fancy, as they are about to go on their final lap. It was 1.85 seconds between Slatter and Depper on the previous lap. Let's see what it is. It might be about the same again once we've got to the start and finish line. Let's have a look on the screens. It was 1.85, it's 1.80 now, so it's come down by just 5/100ths of a second. So not an awful lot to choose between them. Interestingly, third, fourth, and fifth, first and best laps on the last lap. What a spin! And that is Johnny Sadler, I think, that's the spin. Coming out to the corkscrew, he spun to the right-hand side of the circuit, which is an interesting position to get to. Not quite sure how it's done. I think the car's probably stalled. I don't think it's still running, so he's struggling to get that going again. So Sadler might be giving up his position there. Tim Sage has been the driver to move up into 6th position as a result in the Malak. Meanwhile, the leaders are up at Rocket for the 11th and final time in this race. Already past the 15-minute mark of the 15-minute time allowance. And they're going to be confronted by yellow flags at the corkscrew, so there's not really going to be the opportunity for any overtaking, I don't think. We'll see whether the green flag is on the exit of the final turn, so no overtaking. So the order is set then. John Sadler's out of the car, by the way. So Trevor Slatic is going to come through for what will be his 2nd win of the season in the Raceparts Historic. Yeah, he's giving the thumbs up there. He's very pleased with that one. Martin Depper, number 8, takes 2nd place. Across the line there as well, goes 21 to win the Austin 7 Class A. But no place overall to Wilson on his first race for the time to be. 4th place to 23 in Boston. Christian Pedersen, 200 in the Austin 7, has gone across the line in 5th position. And 6th position then is going to be Tim Page in the Malak U2, which has a couple of cars left to cross the line. Final one of which is going to be 2 Charlie Payne Jones, is going to be 3rd in the 7 class behind Ian Grant. So let's just have a look at how it was. Number 72, Trevor Slatter, 2.49 seconds from 2nd place, number 8, Martin Depper. 3rd position, number 7, Graham Wilson. 4th, number 23, Lyndon Fusston. 5th, number 200, Christian Pedersen. 6th, number 42, Tim Sage. 7th to 21, Alfred Cook, 7th class. 8th, number 20, Ian Grant. 9th, number 22, Charlie James. And rounding out the top 10, number 29, Roy Weathermore. So that's it. The historic 750 cars are next out at Stetson in the middle of October. We've got one race to come for here at Anglesey, and that is for the ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000 Championship. Oh yeah.
Hiya, how are you?
Oh, not bad. How are you?
That's alright.
Yes.
Keep falling off my bike.
Is that why you've got plaster cast on your arm? When did you do that?
A couple of weeks ago.
Oh dear.
Oh no, a week ago actually.
No, right.
Yeah. An idiot.
Did you sort of just do something stupid by yourself, or was there any sort of dramatic story involved?
So I was on like a training course,
Right.
which is supposed to help me stop falling off my bike.
That's ironic.
And I did like, I sort of went up an edge like that, but
Oh.
a lot higher.
Yeah.
I messed up the landing and went over handlebars.
That didn't go to plan, did it?
No, not really.
Oh, that's a shame.
How you been then?
Yeah, all right.
Survived. All the
Yeah.
lockdown and
Things have done.
yeah. It's something weird, isn't it?
Very weird. I mean, I'm still working at home. Take it
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
as well.
We start to get back in the office next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
Is that doing sort of 1 or 2 days a week or something?
yeah, I can do flexible. I can go in as and when, but the others we sort of split them out between the week. Yeah.
Okay. Just try and sort of manage the numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
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 No, I mean, we've got 28 desks available in our office of 150 at the minute.
Oh,
I'm thinking they'll get up to 50 desks fairly shortly. But I mean, it's very rare that there's ever 100 all the desks filled anyway.
yeah.
But usually it's more than that.
Where do you work?
RSM, Birmingham City Centre.
Blimey.
Yeah, so I think the main thing for a lot of people, rather than the office, is the transport, because most people to get there will be public transport.
Yeah, exactly.
And I drive, but that's because I don't like public transport to the best of
No, I
times,
don't
so
either.
but that's just me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I try to avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah, so that's the idea. Yeah.
God, it's hot here.
It is. I should put that far away, but I'll just blow my paper around.
Yeah.
There's only one more race to go, so
That's what carry on then.
exactly.
You were Alton yesterday?
I was, yeah. Were you?
Not till late.
Uh,
Work in the morning, so I
right.
didn't get there till about 4, 5.
Okay.
When did you stay last night?
Well, because I was going to be on holiday this week anyway, up in North Wales, before Anglesey next week. We were supposed to have that.
Oh yeah.
So I stayed where I'm staying near Port Maddox.
Oh,
So I drove across to there last night and then up here, but it's about an hour.
Okay.
This morning, so back. Especially losing a day at my holiday at the end of the week, at the start of the week rather than the end of the week. So, yeah. What about you? Where did you stay?
I don't know what it's called. It's about 20 minutes away. Or further up.
Further. Oh, is it the Trana Bay?
No.
Okay. Where is then? No, that one's in that direction, about that far away.
It's really bizarre.
I've stayed in some ropey places for ages.
Oh. This one, they've got roller blinds at the window. You wouldn't roll them. There's all dead flies all squished
That's-
into me.
That's nice.
And in the shower, there's like wooden like boards in the shower. It was just
A
weird.
little bit bizarre. No, what's the place? There was a place, I think it's the Bull or something that I stayed at. It was like a pub with rooms. Which
Yeah.
That was probably one of the worst places I've stayed in. So that was a few years ago.
Well, apparently this one we stayed in is supposed to be the best one on Anglesey.
Oh, really?
Doesn't say a lot.
The place I would normally stay, the Nantir Odin,
Right.
that's all right.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not very big. It's perhaps 10 rooms or something like that. But,
Maybe we should try that one.
yeah.
John's had a disabled room. You got to see it in his shower.
It's just a little sit down, isn't it?
The restaurant wasn't open. There was no bar.
Hmm.
That's all shut.
Yeah.
There's no staff there. They just leave the keys in the
Oh,
door. When you leave, you just leave the key in the door again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't bother paying, really.
Oh, I stayed in a place like that where there's no staff before.
Really?
I'm wondering if because that was in Holyhead as well, so that was this. Maybe it's the same one. I can't remember what it was called.
It's got like separate sections to it. So there's a main hotel, then there's a lodge, and then.
Oh no, it wasn't that. No, it wasn't that. Not quite sure what it was then. But yeah, that was a slightly odd place.
Oh. Hotel.
It's got too many consonants.
Oh, look, the sat nav trying to say the Welsh names and
really?
places. It's really funny. That one.
No, I don't know that one. Well, that's the best place on Anglesey. Yeah. So the place I go at Nancy is all right. It's again, I don't know what they're doing with COVID, but
Yeah.
it's usually got a nice bar and restaurant. It's only small.
Yeah.
But it's got a nice bar and restaurant and food's all right. I said that was really hot and it was really warm in the rooms, but
Yeah.
there was no air conditioning.
No, cool.
One of those things.
Put up with it for a night or two, can't you? See that? What a great view you got up here. It's
It's
brilliant.
beautiful, isn't it? It's beautiful.
It's absolutely stunning.
It's a shame it's quite as much crowd as there is, so you can't see the mountain tops. Never mind.
I think last year when I came, you could see them.
Yeah,
I think this is my favourite circuit. I just think it's lovely.
yeah. Well, no, there's no circuit like it, is it? Really? You've got the view of the sea, you see some. What's you see many boats? There's one or two out there, isn't there?
I can't see any. My eyes are shit.
There's about 3 people in canoes. I think.
Oh yeah, I can see.
So the big one's that rocky bit.
Yeah.
Not seeing much else in the way of boat activity.
Oh yeah, I can see the boat there. It's so inviting to go in there, but I'm not a massive fan of the sea.
You're not?
No. I don't like swimming particularly
No.
as a general concept.
No, I do. So.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do.
I
Like
do.
sponsored.
Yeah, I do. Look, I'm back at doing something again now.
Oh, yeah.
It's great again.
Yeah.
I'll start talking again. More careful.
Commercial.
Okay. Nice to see you. Take care. So final race of today.
So final race of today coming up here at Anglesey Circuit. It's the ZAMP Helmets
Championship.
1000
Early on today.
Championship.
It was a win for Richard
Early on today,
only
it was
after
a win for Richard Morris,
demise
but only after
Yarrow.
demise of Ryan Yarrow and Danny Andrew, both of them within half a lap of one another, really, as well, which was very strange with mechanical issues by the looks of it. But that's not to say that Richard wasn't the fastest driver out there. He did do the best lap of the race as well, a 1:10.63. About just under a second outside the Allbones lap. Let's have a look at the grid though, set by the results of race 1. So front row is 2 and 5 to Rice and 5 Michael Bruce. Sorry, fastest laps from it, beg your pardon. To Rice and 5 Michael Bruce. Second row 54 and 57, 54 Ryan Yarrow and 67. Third row 27 and 63, 27. Danny Andrew and 63. Danny Andrew is not there. And then it's 72 and 18. Jonathan Mcgill and Stephen Pell. 44 cars in 21. And 87 Tom Bromley race gets underway. Like there was Ryan Yarrow was there, yes, and actually Ryan Yarrow has got into the lead, so not a good start from Richard Morris yet again. Another slow start from him, I'm afraid, and Ryan Yarrow gets into the lead at the first turn. Can he hold on to it? So far, so good. It's Michael Roots in second place, Richard Morris in third. He goes cutting the grass on the exit of Church Court. He's back on the circuit now, though. But that will cost him a few tenths and hopefully won't do any damage to the car. Fourth is Colin Chapman. Fifth is Victor Newman. But Johnny Mcgill goes up the inside of Newman at Rocket, and I think he does go through into fifth position. So Richard Morris down to third then, the race one winner, who started on pole position here. Richard Morris second place. Ryan Yarrow in the way, Michael Roots in second place. Number 2, Richard Morris in third position. It's the 63 car of Colin Chapman in fourth spot. Oil flag being shown to the drivers, and that's because there is quite a lot of cement that's having been put down on the stretch of track around the corkscrew, where there was a problem in the earlier race. Reminder that this is a 20-minute race. It's 54 Ryan Yarrow that's leading from second place, number 5 Michael Roots, third place, number 2 Richard Morris, as they head once again up to Rocket. So back with us again. It's the 54 car that's still leading then, but I think the number 5 is a little bit closer this time in the shape of Michael Roots. He did the best lap of the race actually that time, Michael Roots, although it was the first flying lap of 1:11.88. Make their way around the right-hander at Church. Richard Morris still there in third, Colin Chapman fourth. 5th is Johnny Mcgill. 6th is Victor Newman. 7th is Carl Austin. 8th is Stephen Bell. 9th is the 21 car of Phil Hutchins. And 10th is number 87 Tom Johnston. So we just lost Danny Andrew from the first race. His car expired in that one, I'm afraid to say. Dropping down towards the corkscrew once again. I think we got 17 laps out of the earlier race, so still a long way to go in this one. It's the final race of the afternoon here at Anglesey Circuit. But certainly Ryan Yarrow in the first race got away from the rest of the field. In this race, that's not the case. Now, whether that's because of something that's changed on the car as a fix after the first race, when of course Ryan did not finish the race, or whether it's actually just because Michael Roots is a bit quicker than Danny Andrew, who was his pursuer in race 1, and Danny was sort of bottling everyone up behind him. Not quite sure. But certainly Roots goes with him, although Roots slow through Church that time, loses a lot of ground to Yarrow, and Richard Morris will take advantage of this here to try and get into second place. The two of them are alongside now. Oh, and very close indeed between them as Michael Roots closes the door there on Richard Morris as they go up to Rocket that time. And I suspect that that is going to be Michael Roots holding on there. But what it will mean is that Ryan Yarrow will all of a sudden have quite a few tenths of a second advantage. Yes, he will. He's probably got the best part of a second between himself and Michael Roots now as they come back down through the corkscrew for the second time. Sorry, not the second time, the fourth time, in fact. So it's still Yarrow leading, but what's the gap now? It's gone out from a quarter of a second to just over 1 second, 1.07. Ryan Yarrow did his personal best lap that time for 1:11.82. Richard Morris, though, was in the best lap of the race on the previous lap, a 1:11.73. Along the back straight they go. Got double waved yellows, and that's because Tom Johnston has had a spin and he's come to rest not that far away from where Johnny Sadler stopped in the previous race, the historic 750 Formula. But his car is sort of partly on and partly off the circuit at the course, where Marshall has gone to the scene to see if he can get the car moved out of the way. but I don't think he's going to be able to. And we've got the safety car being scrambled, so that will close the gap up again between Ryan Yarrow and the rest. It's the first time that the safety car has been deployed today. Phil Bunn is driving it here this weekend. So it's just a question of how quickly Tom Johnston's car can be recovered. There's some damage. No, there's no damage. It's just a trick of the light on the 21 car of Phil Hutchins, who's the 9th car still circulating. So another marshal rushing over, and they're trying to push Tom Johnston's car backwards down the hill. You would think gravity would be on their side, but it's stuck fast. So I think it might need some mechanical intervention to get Johnston's car out of the way. But at the moment, the safety car is out. We're on lap 6 of the race. It's number 54, Ryan Yarrow, leading. Number 5, Michael Roots is in 2nd place. Number 2, Richard Morris is in 3rd. In 4th place, number 63, Colin Chapman. In 5th place, number 67, Victor Newman. 6th place, number 72, Johnny McGill. 7th place, number 44, Carl Austin. 8th is number 18, Stephen Bell. And 9th place, number 21, Phil Hutchins. And the recovery truck is just on the scene to try and drag the Tom Johnston Spire GT3 clear. So the marshals and the recovery team still working to get Tom Johnston's car out of the way. There you can see the current running order. They're about to come through to complete lap number 6. Of course, we've got all of the fields back together again, 9 cars that are surviving. We're about to cross the line again to complete the 6th lap, as I say. Michael Roots is gesticulating at something, trying to point forward. So whether he's trying to suggest there's a problem with Ryan Yarrow's car, or maybe he wants the safety car to go a little bit quicker. I'm not quite sure. Certainly it was a lap of about 2.5 minutes behind the safety car, so more than double the usual lap time for these cars. Making their way around the banking now. Meanwhile, I look to my right, and the problem is it's a strange angle that the Tom Johnston Spire has come to rest on. So I think they're going to have to pull it away backwards from where it's come to rest. And it's right by Parc Ferme, so it will take seconds once they've got the car moved to get it to a position of safety. But it's just getting it moved in the first place that's the problem, I think. So temperature going out of the tyres while this is happening. Glorious afternoon, as I was saying earlier, here at Anglesey now. I think I can see a bit more of the mountains than we could earlier on as well. You can see, if you're watching the live stream, the blue sky. And some fluffy white clouds. Bit murky in the hills, I suspect, of Snowdonia today. This is round 6 of the championship, so we're 3/4 of the way through here, with Richard Morris taking the championship lead with that victory earlier on today. I think Ryan Yarrow will still be 2nd, and I think Victor Newman will have moved up to 3rd place with his 2nd place in the earlier race. Drivers can only drop 1 score, so Ryan Yarrow will be hoping that he gets another strong result here. Because if that is the case, then both he and Richard Morris will have had 3 wins during the course of the season. Tom Johnston's car is still in more or less the same position as it was. And the problem is that the lie of the land here is that he's pointing up a grassy slope, which is difficult for the recovery truck to get onto. And the recovery truck is now going to have to, I think, attack the car from another angle. And try and drag it up the hill and sweep round. And now we've got the red flags, the race being stopped. I think they've just decided it's going to take too long to get this sorted under the safety car. So they will grid the cars up and get a restart in just a moment. Which should probably, I would think, go on for probably about 10 minutes, because we'd had about 10 minutes of the race when the red flag came out. But yeah, it's a real struggle to get that Tom Johnston car moved, I'm afraid. Possibly needs another vehicle to assist as well. So we'll see how that all pans out. So the grid will be based on the running order, effectively, when the safety car went out, I think. So it'll be Ryan Yarrow that will take pole position, car 54. Michael Roots, number 5, will be alongside him on the front row. It'll be 2, Richard Morris, alongside 63, Colin Chapman. It'll be 67, Victor Newman, alongside 72, Jonathan Mcgill on row 3. .44, Carl Austin, and 18, Stephen Bell on the 4th row, and then Phil Hutchins, number 21, on his own on the 5th and final row of the grid. So drivers forming up. Michael Roots is still trying to signal something. He's trying to signal it's Scott Mittell, although who runs the car and is on the pit wall. I think Scott understands what the signals mean, which is more than I do, and is going to go and find out or sort out the situation, whatever it may be. Another Anglesey Circuit vehicle's heading out onto circuit now, but that's not going to do anything to do with the recovery. They're now going to try and get the car onto the back of the flatbed, but to do that they need to get the truck parked broadside across the track. So that's why even with the safety car out, we weren't going to be able to continue. Not quite sure how Tom Johnston got to that position, or indeed why he's still stuck there. So, for those who are watching on the stream, I did just give you a little bit of a guided tour of what was going on, including the recovery of Tom Johnston's car, which is now complete. So that's being brought into the entrance to Parc Fermé. We've got the 9 cars lined up on the grid for what I suspect is going to be a restart of something like 10 minutes. And because there's no green flag lap in the ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000s, we should be straight to the race. Yeah, the drivers being encouraged to start their engines. 1 minute board is shown. So we're straight back into racing. Now, can Richard Morris make a better start this time? 30-second board goes up. 5-second board is shown. Revs starting to rise then. Watch for the lights. The red lights go on. They go out. And again, it's another slow start from Richard Morris, I'm afraid. It's pretty even between the two front row men. Richard Morris up on the curb there at turn 1, but it's Yarrow and Roots that have the lead as they head up towards the banking. And out of my sight for a few moments. They'll appear back into it now as they head towards Church Corner. It is Yarrow, Roots, Morris, and then Colin Chapman in 4th place. In 5th place, it looks like it's the 67 car of Victor Newman. 6th is 72, Johnny Mcgill. Phil Hutchins has made a position. He's up into 8th spot. Top 3 already starting to get away a little bit from Colin Chapman in 4th. Disappear from my view up at Rocket Corner. Great sound of these motorcycle engines, 1000cc superbike engines as they roar back into view. And top 3 certainly pulling away from the rest, and it's very close between them again. Yarrow 54, 5, Michael Roots in the Mattel in between the two spires, with the work spire of Richard Morris behind. And Richard Morris there goes very wide at the exit of turn number 1. And really rattling the curb there and getting beyond the extremity of the curb as well. He can't afford to do that too often, otherwise he'll start to attract the attention of the officials for exceeding track limits. Through Church they go. 54 it is that's leading from 5 in 2nd place and 2 in 3rd position. Richard Morris, Yarrow and Roots up front, turning their way through Rocket Corner now. Colin Chapman still 4th. Victor Newman 5th. Stephen Bell at the rear of the field in car number 18. I can see the Spire. 2 Mattels on the grid and 7 Spires in this race. Obviously, we lost the Danny Andrew Mattel before the race. Through the corkscrew they come for the 2nd time after the restart then. And Yarrow just putting a bit of daylight between himself and Roots now, to which I mean 3 or 4 car lengths. Morris is only about a car length behind Roots though. In 3rd position. Again, quite a lot of curb used by both Roots and Morris through the final turn. But they are dropping away a little bit now from the race leader Ryan Yarrow here. Through the fast sweeping right-hander at Church. Looking a bit further back, Carl Austin's in 7th, Phil Hutchins 8th, and Stephen Bell in 9th position. Leaders turning their way through Rocket though. Colin Chapman now coming under a bit of pressure from Victor Newman for 4th position. On the first flying lap, Ryan Yarrow unsurprisingly did the best lap of the race, a 1:11 dead. Mind that Richard Morris did 1:10.63 in the earlier race, and they're both a bit slower than they were in qualifying. Richard Morris was saying to me earlier on that in testing yesterday, the track got slower as the day went on. So I wonder if the same thing's happening here. And we certainly have had some fluid put down in one of the earlier races here, which might account for a little bit of that. Over the line goes Yarrow again to complete 3 laps now, and the lead now is 1.3 seconds, 1.32 seconds in fact. Yarrow's done another fastest lap of the race, a 1:10.77. Still not the fastest lap of the day. That went to Richard Morris, a 1:10.63 earlier on. But Morris here in 2nd place will be keen to find a way past Roots as quickly as possible. Roots with lots of experience in karting. The 35-year-old account manager from Wokingham, driving this Mattel MC53. It's a 2020 chassis. And he did 2 years in low cost, but 25 years in karting. The Rotax 162 British Championship, the 177 British Championship as well. Some Club 100, F6 as well. And within the low cost, he did have a pole position at Anglesey. That was a good few years ago now that he did race the low cost. He shared that car, so didn't do all of the rounds, but he did have that pole here at Anglesey. So obviously it's a circuit that he likes, but so too is Richard Morris just behind him as well in the Spire. And again, they're losing more ground here to Ryan Yarrow. Gap's gone out again by another half a second to 1.8 seconds now. Yarrow improves his time still further, 1:10.72. Roots and Morris, for what it's worth, do identical lap times that time at 1:11.20. So there's not a lot to choose between the two of them, but we've seen in the earlier race that on ultimate pace, when he's got a clear track ahead of him, Morris is a little bit quicker, but overtaking here at Anglesey is relatively difficult. Chapman in 4th place is still soaking up the pressure from Victor Newman in 5th position. And Johnny Mcgill on his own in 6th. 7th is Austin, Carl Austin, number 44. 8th is number 21, Phil Hutchins. 9th is number 18, Stephen Bell. Leads are about to come back into my view on the exit of Peel. And it's still Ryan Yarrow, and he's getting ever further away from the blue Mittel of Michael Roots, number 5. And Richard Morris, number 2, in 3rd position. Turning their way through the left-hander at turn number 1. Now, again, Morris gets a very good run out of turn 1 this time. We saw this earlier on as well. And last time we got a really good run out of turn 1. He appeared back, in my view, on the exit of the banking in the lead. So on lap 6 of the race, it's not worked out for him this time. Couldn't convert it at the banking. I'll look for a good run along the back stretch here, though. But these two cars, the Mattel of Roots and the Spire of Morris, look very evenly matched indeed here. And Morris still there in 3rd position. Certainly going to go down to the wire, this championship at Snetterton in October. And it looks like it's going to be between the two drivers, Yarrow and Morris. If anything, it looks like Yarrow possibly has slightly the quicker car because he qualified better than Morris did. Morris qualifying back in 3rd in terms of the best lap time set for the earlier race. Gap this time was 2.27 on the previous lap. It's now 2.30, so it stayed almost exactly the same on that last lap. Phil Hutchins and Stephen Bell in quite a close dispute now for 8th position. Only a couple of car lengths between them. But for 2nd place, about 3 car lengths as they go through church between number 5, Michael Roots, and number 2, Richard Morris. They turn their way past the school building, sweeping uphill now. Fantastic amount of gradient change here at Anglesey. And into the left-hander. And it's almost nose to tail through there because of the effect of the braking and 2 of them concertinaing up through there. But as they get back out to a quicker part of the circuit, Roots probably able to pull away again a little bit from Morris. Certainly looks to be the case as they head into the corkscrew, having accelerated out of the 2nd gear corner at Peel. Quite a tight right-hander, that one. Up and over the line they go again. Morris still behind Roots. That's the end of lap 7. He's 17/100ths behind Roots. 2.3 seconds behind Yarrow in the lead of the race. Morris a little bit closer at church this time, but he carries Roots that carries more speed in on the entrance to the corner, but Morris that carries more speed on the exit. And as they climb up the hill towards the left-hander at Rocket, it's still Roots that's hanging on, and keeping an eye down on the marshalling position underneath me to see when we're going to get the last lap board hung out I don't think it'll be too far away now. We had roughly 10 minutes, including the period behind the safety car before the red flag came out initially. So Ryan Yarrow, number 54, is going to come through in the lead, and he is going to get the last lap board this time. I thought he might do. So with about 9.5 minutes gone, we're going to go on to our final lap. So it's the last chance really for Richard Morris to try and find a way through and get up into second position. Don't think he's going to catch Ryan Yarrow, who's nearly 3 seconds up the road now. Of course, Yarrow, though, did disappear into a cloud of smoke in race 1, but he's got just over half a lap to go now. As second and third place cars go through Church Corner, Morris not as close to the back of Roots as Mcgill this time. Possibly Rocket is his last real opportunity to make an overtake, but he's just not close enough to make it work there. So these Bike Engine Sports prototypes have put on a couple of good shows here today at Anglesey at this test event organised by the 750 Motor Club, but these counting for championship rounds, of course. Through the right-hander goes Ryan Yarrow then, and he's going to come through to take the checker flag for his third victory of the year in the ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000s Championship. Second place is going to go the way of number 5, Michael Roots, and that's his best finish so far in the championship. Third to number 2, the race 1 winner, Richard Morris. Fourth place to number 63, Colin Chapman. In fifth place, number 67, Victor Newman. Sixth place to number 72, Johnny Mcgill. Seventh place to number 44, Carl Austin. Eighth to number 18, Stephen Bell. And ninth to number 21, Phil Hutchins. And actually the whole field finishing that 10-minute race within 22 seconds of one another. So the lap times really were pretty close. Let's just see if we can show you what those were. There we go. There's the final results in the lap time. As you can see, that the best lap of the race as well actually went to Ryan Yarrow on the very final lap, a 1 minute 10.67, 4/100ths of a second slower than the time that Richard Morris managed in the earlier race. Well, that's just about it then from Anglesey Circuit today. We've had 6 races from 3 different categories. The ZAMP Helmets Sports 1000 Championship winners there to Richard Morris and Ryan Yarrow. And we've had 2 different winners as well in the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Classic Stock Hats Championship in the form of Ryan Morgan and Pip Hammond, and also in the historic 750 Formula series in the shape of Martin Depper and Trevor Slatter getting a win as well. 750 Motor Club are back in action next weekend at Snetterton on the 300 circuit, where some of the championships that were due to be racing at Anglesey next weekend, they'll be racing there instead. So if you are able to get along, buy your tickets in advance via the Snetterton website. If you're not otherwise involved in the race meeting, so do go along to that one. And then there's also 750 Motor Club Championships present at Castle Combe on the weekend of the 19th and 20th of September, there with the BMW Car Club Racing Championship, 5 Club Racing, and also the low costs as well, with the next 750 Motor Club organised race meeting after that being at Mallory Park at the beginning of October. That's just about it then from Anglesey Circuit. From me, Ian Simon, on behalf of everyone here at the 750 Motor Club, many thanks to all of the marshals here at Anglesey today. Done a fantastic job as ever. But for now, from me, Ian Simon, it's a very good night.